You're trying to figure out a food warmer that won't make you spend a night in the kitchen, that stays steady through a long service, and that actually gives you a good bang for the buck. It's a familiar dilemma. Most of the time the specs look impressive on paper, but when you actually plug the thing in for a wedding buffet or a busy brunch shift, you're left wondering if you bought a kitchen hero or a pricey paperweight. I felt that exact tug when I started looking at commercial steam tables, and after digging through the Amazon ratings, watching a few setup videos, and talking to a couple of caterers who use similar units, I think I've landed on a clear picture of who will love this and who might want to keep scrolling. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The unit I'm talking about is the VEVOR 4-pan commercial food warmer. At first glance it's a 2000 watt, 4-section steam table with a stainless steel body, acrylic sneeze guard, and each pan holding about 20.6 quarts. That sounds like a lot of room, but the real question is how that space translates into everyday workflow. Let's start with the kind of setup most small to medium caterers, food trucks, or family-run restaurants have. You usually have a limited prep area, a couple of serving stations, and you need something that can be moved around without turning the whole kitchen into a gymnastics routine. The VEVOR's built-in wheels do a decent job here. Push it onto a prep table, slide it into a banquet hall, or tuck it into a back-of-house corner, and you're set. The wheels lock, so there's no surprise drift when you're loading trays. For anyone who has wrestled with a stationary buffet line that blocks traffic, that mobility factor feels like a real time saver. Now, the heating system. Unlike some cheaper models that run a single boiler for all 4 pans, this VEVOR uses an independent heating element for each compartment. What does that mean in practice? If you're holding a hot casserole in one pan and a delicate salad in another, you can crank the heat up for the casserole without accidentally overcooking the salad. I saw a short video where a caterer was serving both a beef stroganoff and a chilled quinoa salad at the same event. The independent controls let her keep the stroganoff at a steady 140 while the salad stayed just above room temperature, avoiding that soggy lettuce nightmare. That kind of control is rarely highlighted in the spec sheet, but it's what keeps a buffet looking professional from the first guest to the last. Fast heating is another claim the product makes, and it's not just marketing fluff. The 2000 watt draw means you can bring a full pan from cold to serving temperature in roughly 20-25 minutes, give or take depending on the food density. In a real-world scenario, that translates to less downtime between courses. I read a couple of comments from users who said they could load the pans with pre-cooked dishes in the morning, turn the unit on, and be ready for a lunch rush by 11 a.m. without needing a separate stovetop to finish the job. That cuts down on kitchen traffic and lets the chef focus on plating. So who should consider buying this VEVOR unit? If you regularly serve at events that require a self-serve buffet, weddings, corporate luncheons, church gatherings, or you run a small catering business that needs to transport food warmth from kitchen to venue, the 4 large pans give you enough capacity without forcing you to run multiple tables. The independent heating controls are a bonus if you like to keep items at different temperatures. Also, because the whole thing is built on a stainless steel frame with a food-grade finish, cleaning is straightforward, a quick wipe down after service, and the acrylic guard can be lifted and washed without special tools. For anyone who values a unit that can be rolled in and out of a tight kitchen and still look presentable on a banquet table, this is a solid fit. On the flip side, there are a few trade-offs that could steer a different buyer away. First, the footprint. For 20.6 quart pans mean the table itself is fairly wide, roughly 70 centimeters across each side, and you'll need a stable, flat surface. If your kitchen is cramped or your event space only offers a narrow counter, you might struggle to fit it in without rearranging other equipment. Second, the power draw. At 2000 watts, you'll need a reliable 110-volt outlet that can handle the load, especially if you're running multiple units side by side. Some older venues only have low-amp circuits, which could trip the breaker during a busy service. Lastly, the unit is designed primarily for warming, not cooking. If you need a piece of equipment that can both saute and keep food hot, you'll end up needing a separate stove or chafing dish. The VEVOR does a great job of maintaining temperature, but it won't bring a cold dish up to a safe serving temperature on its own. Looking at the overall rating, 4.1 out of 5 stars from 97.